Bay Area Bleepers, metal detecting for you. Yeah, I'm a treasure seeker.
I came home for the holidays this year, toting 2 metal detectors, 2,932 miles, give or take, because nothing says festive quite like wandering your childhood yard listening for ghosts that beep.
Bay Area Bleepers.
When we moved into this house, we knew almost nothing about its past, beyond one bare fact. It had supposedly been built around 1900. Our then neighbor across the street, Wally, and his father, Mr. Mertens, renovated the building sometime in the 1940s. But by then, Croton-on-Hudson already carried a reputation. Creative people of every stripe drifted up from New York City every summer, staying in small cabins and cottages, trading ideas and philosophies, and working in the company of other artists. One prominent figure among them was writer Ralph Waldo Trine, who purchased a large property near Purity's Corners in the intersection of East, West, and South Mount Airy roads. Trine was a major voice of the New Thought movement and the author of numerous books on the subject. Many of the artists and thinkers drawn to Croton during this period were also connected, loosely or deeply, to that same movement. New Thought was not a church, nor a rigid doctrine. It was a spiritual and philosophical current that emerged in the 19th century, centered on the idea that thought and mindset shape reality. Health, happiness, success, even healing were believed to flow from aligning one's mind with a universal life force or divine intelligence. The movement spread through books, lectures, salons, and gatherings rather than pulpits. One of those gathering places was this house. Long before it was a family home, the building had been constructed as a dance and meeting hall for the local New Thought community. There was a stage on the western end. The interior was unfinished, no plaster, no lath, no walls, just one large open room meant for movement, performance, and ideas in motion. Other members of Croton's New Thought colony included Alexander Calder, who had grown up in Croton before moving to San Francisco with his family. He would return to Croton throughout his life. Feminist and patron of the arts Mabel Dodge, poet Edna St. Vincent Millay, actor Gloria Swanson, and writer Upton Sinclair were also New Thought believers. If you've seen the movie from 1981 called Reds, Warren Beatty's character, John Reed, was a real person. Reed, a writer and committed communist, purchased Mabel Dodge's house before leaving to cover the Russian Revolution as a journalist and possibly as a spy. Max Eastman, editor of the socialist magazine The Masses, was another key figure in Croton's colony. Along with his sister Crystal Eastman, he founded The Liberator, a radical political and arts magazine. Max later became a founding member of the Men's League for Women's Suffrage. So while our house began its life as a place that nurtured radical ideas, performances, and beliefs, it's now just a quiet family home. Yet even after more than 40 years of continuous occupation, it still keeps its secrets. Which brings me to one that predates the house itself by nearly 60 years. When we moved in, the property included about 3 acres of land scattered with glacial outcroppings. My brother and I treated them as a playground. Among them was one particular formation, a massive boulder resting atop others, creating a shallow overhang protected on its east and north sides. I like to imagine the natives of Lenape using the spot for thousands of years, sheltering from rain or resting overnight. To us, it wasn't deep. and it wasn't fully sheltered, but it clearly mattered to someone long before we got there. Unfortunately, it was also mistreated in the early to mid 20th century, used as a place to burn trash before municipal garbage collection existed. We knew it had been a place of importance to someone because the carving on the inner rock face dated 1843. At first, we didn't want to assume anyone was buried in there, but we quickly learned that the rumor had been around for generations, and at least one body had been laid to rest in the cave. The carving showed two names, one neatly cut and deeply weathered, the other crude and clearly much newer. The rough carving read, S. Pizan. For years, it baffled me. I searched for it repeatedly. I asked online. No one had answers. But the name seemed incomplete to me. Decades later, posting a question about it on a Croton Facebook group, a woman named Dottie Dimes Pezanowski replied. She asked her husband if he knew anything about it, and sure enough, he admitted that it was him. As a kid, he had carved part of his name into the rock and never come back to finish it. Some 30 years later, after moving into that house, the mystery had finally been solved. And that resolution made the older carving feel even more credible, not less. The original inscription reads W.M. Tate, 1843, with two crosses carved at the base. That isn't casual graffiti. A name, a date, and crosses form a burial language that was already old by the mid-19th century. Crosses don't mark rumors, they mark grief. I began researching who William Tate might have been. Old maps showed Tate families farming nearby, owning the land that our house is currently on. And their name, though spelled differently on the maps, was still Tate. What stopped me cold was this. There was no William Tate who died in 1843. And for a while, I let that stump me. William Samuel Tate, born in 1821, lived well into the century. Once he was eliminated as a possibility, the long-standing idea of an adult man being buried in the cave collapsed into folklore. Looking at birth records, one family fit cleanly. David S. Tate was child number 4 of 11, born to Samuel Tate and his wife in 1811. David and his wife, Catherine Henry, were married locally in 1841. They quickly had a son named Samuel after David's father, born May 19, 1842, and then a daughter, Mary, born November 9, 1843. This is where I believe William Tate comes in. William existed long enough to be mourned, but not long enough to leave paperwork. In 1843, burying an infant on family land was not unusual, especially in rocky upland farming country. The cave was stable, it was memorable, and it was quietly protective. Stone endures longer than wood, and the crosses suggest sanctification, not secrecy. If William was the only child the Tate family lost, they were, by the standards of the 1840s, very fortunate. Only about 70% of the children born in the 1840s lived to see their first birthday. Some lives were too brief for the systems meant to record them, but not too brief to be loved or buried by hand or marked so that they would not be forgotten. And sometimes circulating the same truth from different angles is the closest thing that historians ever get to certainty.
All right, so I've already done about a few hours of metal detecting here at the house I grew up in yesterday, and there are signals everywhere. It's like really chattery, which I'm trying to like adjust the programs down so that, like, let's turn down the sensitivity a little. I actually don't want it on M1. But yeah, so that's a little bit better. But the volume's down low on my machine, so there are lots of signals. And we detected up at the cabin at the cave a little bit, and Carol found like probably a Bohemian era copper bracelet that was engraved, and that probably goes along with the history of the New Thought group. That was probably a fashion when they were using what is the house for as a dance hall. Now, the first thing my brother found yesterday was a horseshoe or a donkey shoe over next to the porch. Was the first thing, and the only thing Carol found in the 2 seconds she had the detector was that bracelet. I found a scattering of old pennies, a nickel. My brother and I both found some big iron stuff in this area of grass before the leaves start. I'm gonna go up right now to a spot where I think there used to be a cabin or a cottage of, belonging to one of the folks who had, who was part of this summer colony. Here's a piece of green glass. There's a lot of glass and a lot of pottery everywhere on this property. And yeah, so I'm gonna go up there now and I'll see you on the first finds. All right, I don't know what this is yet. I haven't gotten the other end out because I think it has like an L shape on the other end and it's stuck. But all I can think of is this is angle iron, I think, but like it seems like a fence post of some kind. If that's what's up here, I'm leaving. The thing that I thought was a rectangle on the LiDAR was actually, I think, the neighbor's pool. I just didn't line up the maps correctly, I guess. Anyway, I'm going to continue working and get this out, and I'll show you what it is when I get it. I don't know. I'm so tired now. I'm out of breath. It's this thing up against a tree. It's angle iron with this at both ends, basically. Maybe a piece of farm equipment or something, but that took a lot out of me. Whew. All right, on to the next. All right, I just pulled this out of that hole. Not sure if it's related to the big piece I just spent half an hour digging out, but sorry, it's not focusing really. Let's see. All right, well, it's not focusing. Also, just want to let you guys know, I broke my dad's hand trowel trying to get that big monster out. And I'm a lot dirtier than I expected to be. Alright, well, on to the next. Before it gets dark. Do it again. Dad's first buckle. Oh. May I have the pinpointer? Please, fine assistant.
I got something over here.
Not yet, but I will.
I got something over here.
You want to dig it? So, among many other finds that my brother, my father, my wife, and I have all found today is this axe head. This broken axe head, obviously. The eye is broken. Unless it's in the ground where I found it. Happy Christmas. I am now below the cave. And I just found this, which I am going to assume is some kind of early 20th century horse tack. Does anybody know? If you do, comment below. It's weird. Alright. See what else I can find before we lose total daylight. I might have just found an old house key. I'll have to ask my parents. Alright, let's find something else before we have to go inside. On to the next.